So I personally went through the journey of obtaining Christ consciousness, and I just want to briefly touch on exactly how I went about doing that. If you want to know more information, you can Google this and learn a little bit more about what that actually means, but it's pretty much a golden elixir or colostrum that secretes into your pineal gland, and it enables you to receive more light codes, and it gives you this hyper ability, or kind of like a hyper intelligence and access to other parts of your brain that you otherwise would not have access to without it. I don't know if you ever seen the movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson, but basically having Christ consciousness is kind of like that. It gives you access to other parts of your brain that you otherwise would not have. So when I first started going through this part of the journey and I got the golden elixir to come in through or secrete through my third eye, it began the process of opening up my mind to receive more light and more information. I am a million times more smarter than I've ever been in all of my life, and that includes high school. Whatever I learned back then, I can now go back and revisit all of these different topics and understand them with ease. I feel as though I have access to the quantum field, the resonance. I can tap into any and all things that are surrounding me, and I no longer have these walls or limitations within my mind in order for me to learn or gather information. Also, having the ability to have Christ consciousness allows you to tap into your DNA, which they call the Akashic Records, and it's like having access to a library of information that is genetically passed on from generation to generation. So having access to all of your ancestors through their light codes, basically, and being able to tap into information that is ancient based on whatever the genetic information is on your bloodline, your heritage, or your lineage. Now, I would say that not everyone can obtain this particular thing. I believe that it is genetic. It's a part of a certain specific bloodline that exists that can actually obtain Christ consciousness or have this activation, because it is very much bloodline oriented and genetic. So I just want to give out a warning before attempting to do this, or a disclaimer. If you are able to obtain Christ consciousness, it is not for the faint at heart. You literally open yourself up to the resonance, and it is going to be a wild ride of reshaping and reawakening your mind into different thought concepts and opening your mind up to things that you never thought could exist, or realities that didn't exist. So if you're afraid, if you're scared, I do not recommend doing this. So one of the first things I did was I raised my black seed, which I will pin the video on my page for you to see the instructions on how to go about doing that intensively. It's a form of meditation that you have to do in order for you to raise the seed from your root chakra all the way up to your crown. That's the first thing that I did. I believe it only takes one good time. One of the things that I did not include in this particular meditation video on how to raise the black seed is that when you get to the crown chakra and you actually get the seed up here as you're envisioning it, you would need to have an O, okay? Read between the lines, okay? We're talking about nirvana and a state of mind, basically putting the seed into heaven, which is here. This is the upper part of your body. So you would need to have an O when you get to that part, or that particular part of the chant in your mind, and you're raising the seed up until this point. You need to have an O, okay? However you need to do that, figure it out. So once you have practiced your meditation, and I would do this quite a few times, even though I believe that it only takes one time in order for you to get that seed up and raise that seed up after you've done your O, when you've gotten that seed, I would still continue to repeat this meditation quite a bit, using the crystals, aligning your chakras in your body, just to make sure that you're in line. The second part of this is very extremely important, and it is the fasting. And it's kind of like Jesus in the wilderness fasting for 40 days and 40 nights. The first thing you want to do is find out what the moon phase was during the time of your birth. So on your birthday, what phase was the moon? You can find your moon phase and the time in the Almanac website. You go to the Almanac website, almanac.com, and you look up the time of year and the date that you were born to find out, okay, when I was born, what was the moon phase, basically. Once you find out what the moon phase was during the time of your birth, then you're going to go through the journey of fasting. Now, the recommendation is for you to fast 7 days before and 7 days after the moon phase. So you find out when that moon phase of the time of your birth is coming up. So let's say it's waxing crescent that was at the time of your birth. You're going to find when is the next time a waxing crescent moon coming into play. And before that time, you want to fast 7 days before, and you want to fast 7 days after. Now, I personally went even longer than that. It's totally up to you, but that is how you go about it. And in terms of fasting and the way that I fasted, it was purely fruits and vegetables. I did not heat my food, and I only had alkaline water to drink. No sodas, no sugar, no nothing. I had fruits and vegetables, which were like salads and different things. And for the first day, I believe I fasted raw turkey. I did not eat anything at all, just to get rid of any toxins. I was just drinking alkaline water all day. And you want to do that. Nuts and berries and different things are also helpful, so that you can stay healthy during this time. And a part of the reason why I believe that it's important for you to fast is because when you're eating fruits and vegetables and not animals, okay, because everything has a resonance and a frequency, so you don't want to be eating genetic information that has, you know, lineage and suffering to it, which animals do. You want to communicate directly with the fruits and vegetables genetic information within your body. When you're eating meat, you're consuming the frequency light code DNA genetic information of that animal, and oftentimes whatever the track record of or the history of genetics of that particular animal, like the bird just told me, was whether that be suffering, you know, you will be inheriting that information. And a lot of times we wonder why we get sick because we eat these certain types of meats. Well, that is because you're consuming their genetic information, and you can just about imagine what that's doing to your body, your physical body, as well as your light body. So using this opportunity as a fast to communicate with fruits and vegetables and drinking nothing but alkaline water will allow the fruits and vegetables to genetically communicate with you directly. So I believe that it's important for you to fast with just fruits and vegetables so that you're receiving nothing but the raw information. And just I'm sorry, the birds are just agreeing with me right now. So when I started my process of the fasting, on the 7th day is when I woke up in the morning and I actually started to receive the secretion. And I really did feel the secretion right in this area, kind of just secreting. It was like oozing through my forehead, basically. And it was pouring in. And I knew at that moment that that's exactly what that is. And since that day, okay, ever since that day that actually happened, my intelligence level and the light information and the codes that I receive on a regular basis are astronomical. I also did not continue eating meat at all after that. I kind of cut the meat eating out. I do occasionally eat fish, but I'm even in the process of cutting that out as well. Since again, I believe that it is something genetic. I don't believe that everyone can tap into it. You have to have a connection to a certain lineage or bloodline that is a Christ capable genetics within your bloodline in order for you to tap into it. But if you're capable of doing it, I wish you all the best. And fair disclaimer, I am not a medical professional, so if you are looking to fast, make sure you do it safely. If you have pre-existing health conditions, make sure that you're taking the proper precautions in order for you to do so. I am not a medical professional. Peace, love, and light.